Hello and welcome to Coding with Stephen. Today we're going to be running through one of our basics JavaScript challenges called Are They the Same? What you'll see in front of you here is just a bunch of instructions on how to get started with these JavaScript challenges that we're going to be running through. I've put these up on a GitHub repository so that you can pull these down and get your environment set up exactly like mine looks here. I'll post a link to the repository in the video description so you can get yourself set up. First things first, we're going to head over to our JavaScript challenge. Are these the same? We're just going to take a quick look at the instructions to familiarize ourselves with what we need to do. So we're essentially going to be working through a function called Are These the Same? Ensuring the function returns whether the two items passed to it are exactly the same. The return value should be a boolean, which is either true or false. Now the important thing to note here is exactly the same, because that will determine whether the type of comparison that we use within JavaScript. There's actually a couple of ways that you can compare objects within JavaScript. I'll give you a bit of an example here. So I'll just start up a node session in our terminal. So JavaScript gives you two ways of comparing objects. You either have the double equals or the triple equals operation. The double equals is what's known as loose equality, and the triple equals is what's known as strict equality. A general rule of thumb, it's always better to use strict equality, that way we don't run into any kind of weird issues. Loose equality, essentially, when you try to compare two arguments, it allows those arguments to be converted between types to see if they match. So to give you a bit of an idea, if we take 0 and we do double equals 0, that will come back true. However, if we take 0 as a string and compare it strictly to 0 as a number, that actually returns false. 9 times out of 10, or in fact pretty much every scenario that I've worked through in my career, it's always best to use strict equality because a number and a string are obviously very different items within JavaScript. And another example is null and undefined. When you have just loose equality, null double equals undefined returns true, whereas actually null triple equals undefined is false. And this is normally a very important thing to distinguish against when building services like APIs and things like that, where you need to be able to distinguish between whether something is null or undefined. So that's that. There's actually a really good article on Mozilla docs around equality comparisons and sameness. There's a lot of quirks within JavaScript when looking at double and triple equality, but like I say, the best thing to do is just use the strict equality with triple equals. I'll post a link to this documentation so you can go and have a look and familiarize yourself with what we're doing. But back to the challenge at hand. So we're going to have these, are these the same? And it should just return whether these are true or false. So what we're going to have here, we've got this are these the same function. It's got item 1 and item 2. So what we need to do is just return whether these two are exactly the same or not. And we can get away with doing that by just returning this triple equals that, and that'll actually return a boolean value for us. And booleans being either true or false. So I've got a bunch of tests that I've written up here that you can execute your code against just to see that it's all working. And there's a handy command that you can just run in your terminal that's just in the instructions here as well. So we'll just close out of our node window, node session. We'll just clear this off. And then we'll just pop in our tests. We'll run through the tests, and what we've got is a total of 9 passing tests. And to give you a bit of an idea, so these do ones where it's actually equal, string and number comparisons, boolean comparisons, not a number comparisons, because those are quite unique within JavaScript, and a whole bunch of other tests as well. But once you've filled that in, that should all pass, and you should be good to go.